Welcome to Plastic Magazine. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Doing great. We're so happy to have you here and have an opportunity to talk to you. Let's kind of jump on in and ask you some great questions. Now, the road to a healthier lifestyle and fitness is a very personal, private journey. Can you tell me about how you made that transition and some of the things that you changed in order to reach where you are today?
Well, first of all, I wanted to eat healthier, being the fact that back in the day I was always known as the big girl in Xscape, and I didn't like that stigma. I didn't want on my title or for my name. My mom named me LaTocha and not the big girl, and so I just took it upon myself to say I could do better, and back then my husband was like a workout guy. That's all he liked to do, and so he was like, LaTocha, do something about this. Just because people are saying these things, that doesn't have to be your outcome. And so we started to work out, and then I started to learn how to kind of implement different type of foods and kind of created these recipes, and it all kind of went hand in hand. And there was a spiritual awakening as well as a physical awakening as well, because I found out that I was a lot more confident, after I started to eat healthier, and just everything kind of changed for me, and I made it a lifestyle change, and it's worked for me ever since. Yeah.
Well, you look great.
Thank you.
Look amazing,
Thank
sounding
you so
amazing.
much.
Now, the pandemic has been a life changer for all of us. It's impacted us in different ways. What's some of the ways it impacted you, and what's some of the things that you learned kind of coming out of it, or as we're starting to come out of it?
Yeah, well, the pandemic definitely changed a lot of things for me, because we were on tour, and we had a lot of shows that were coming up, and so everything just stopped. And a person like me, I'm very creative, and I was like, okay, what can I do now? Because I still wanted to walk in my purpose, and I think that my purpose wasn't just through the music. And I kind of delved more into the cookbook and started to come up with different recipes. And so, I remember after the tour, well, actually during the tour, there were people that would come to our meet and greets and say, like, Tasha, what are you doing for your weight loss? And I would say, I'm cooking up this food, and they were like, well, we want you to share that with us. And so the pandemic actually helped me to kind of sit back and create this cookbook. And it was almost like a testament for my life, because I've been through a lot, and I kind of wrote all that stuff down in the book about people saying certain things about me. And even during my walk, I had people say, you should be eating hamburgers, like you're too big, And so I created burgers that I could enjoy. So this book was like a therapy for me, to be honest with you, and that happened during the pandemic. And since then, the books have been flying off the shelf. I've had people in my DMs come, talk to me like, listen, this is changing my life. And I think with that, my purpose is still being fulfilled.
Absolutely. Now, Understanding is a signature song for your group. It's been a timeless song around clarity. Can you tell us what your mind state was as you were singing those lyrics, how those lyrics play for you today as well?
Wow, that's a good question. Understanding is a song that dear to my heart for several reasons. During that time, we just had heard that my sister was pregnant, and she came to the group, and she was like, listen, you guys, I'm about to have a baby. And back then, that just was not normal for girl groups to have kids. They were like, okay, well, you're gonna have to get out of the group, So they came to me and they said, your sister's gonna have to get kicked out the group. And I felt a certain way about it, because, my mom has always instilled the bond between us. Like, your sister goes, you go. And so I made a decision to say, if she goes, I go. And then they said, oh no, we still want y'all in the group. And after that, the song Understanding just stood out even more, because that's all she needed. That's all we all needed, was understanding. So when I sing that song, I think about my niece, who is still here now, because my sister did not want to have the abortion that they asked her to have. And so that song means a lot to me when I think about Understanding, because that's what we need. And the fact that she was still able to sing with me on stage, and we're still doing this 20-something years later, that's a testimony that all of us need understanding.
Absolutely, absolutely. Whenever I'm speaking to singers, I'll always ask what your first church solo was, in terms of the song you sang and what you felt in that moment.
Oh, my first song. I want to say it was I Made a Vow. I remember a lady by the name of, we called her Sister Sam's, that was over the ministry, the music ministry in our church. And so they would always say, Tasha, this is your solo for today. And I would sing that song and I would close my eyes, because I always was nervous, like when people would watch me. But when I would close my eyes, I would just go to a place, and the song was called I Made a Vow to the Lord. And I would just sing it so loud, and I just felt a conviction with singing that song. And then when I would open my eyes, I would see how it moved people, you know. And that's why even now when I'm singing, I'll close my eyes a little bit and I look out and I'm like, oh, it's moving somebody, it's touching you. And it does something for me as well. But I remember that song, that's the one. Yeah, I made a vow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last question here for you. Outside of, you know, Xscape and your other brands and things like that, what's some other things you're looking to accomplish and some other things you're looking to conquer? You've done so well in the areas that you've been focused in. What's some other areas that we have no idea about that you're constantly looking to kind of conquer next?
I want to go more into acting. I want to conquer that. My mom has always said, you know, don't you think you act? Because every time you sing or something, you always got, like, using my hands, I'm always animated. And so I think that's another lane that I would like to pursue. I think I could. And I always tell her, I'm like, I really want to do more animation. Like, I want to put on, what is it, prosthetics? What is it called? Prosthetics, that's it. I want to put on prosthetics. I want to do something different that I've never done before and kind of live in a different light. But for now, I know it's the music, it's this Made Girl clothing line that I have out, and it's also touching women. I want to be able to be an inspiration to women who, you know, look like me. You know, because when we were coming up, I really didn't have a lot of people to say, you know, that person looks like me, I understand them. And kind of being that that shoulder or that person to go to. You know, like I said before, people, they DM me all the time, and it's like I'm an auntie, a cousin, or a friend, and I want to continue that path and continue to walk in my purpose. And like I said, it's not always about the music. It's about the cookbook and teaching people how to eat healthier, and it's about feeling comfortable in your own skin, because it took me a long time to get here, to feel comfortable, and I want people to understand that they are beautiful and they are enough.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate everything that you are, everything that you've become, and everything that you become down the road. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Oh, thank
Magazine.
you. This is quick. Thank y'all.